T-minus 20 seconds and counting. We are go. Guidance internal.
Roll program confirmed.
10, 9, 8, 7. Ignition sequence start. 4, 3, 2, 1. All engines running.
We are fortunate to have the 1903 through 1909 Early Ford Registry choose Decorah to host its first international tour. The tour starts August 14th and is a week long. I'm here today to describe the tour, introduce you to the cars, and tell you what we will be doing. On many tours, people line the streets and roads to view cars as they drive past. We have a printed schedule that you may pick up so you will know where the cars will be on any day of the week. The 1903 Model A was Ford's first car. It had a two-cylinder, horizontally opposed engine mounted under the seat. The engine was 8 horsepower. It sold for $750 as a runabout and about $100 more for a rear seat. There were about 1,750 Model A's sold. A later version was produced with a 10-horsepower engine. It was called the Model AC. We will have at least one Model A on this tour. Current prices for one of these cars is well over $100,000. The 1904 Model B was a front-engine, 4-cylinder touring car. It had 24 horsepower and sold for $2,000. The gas headlights were an extra option. Only about 500 of these were sold. The 1905 Model C was a 10-horsepower car and had a more modern look than the Model A because it had a hood, even though the engine was still under the seat. There were only 800 of these produced, and we have one of these cars on the tour. It sold for $850 as a two-seater, and the tonneau was $100 more expensive. The rubber top was an additional $30, and a leather top was $50. The next lettered car produced was the Model E. Ford literature simply called this the delivery car. There are none of this model remaining. The Ford F was a development of the original Model A. It was larger and more luxurious. It had a phaeton body with running boards with seating for 4. It was introduced in 1905 and produced through 1906. Only about 1,000 were produced. They sold for about $1,000. We will have one of these cars on the tour. The Model K was introduced in 1906 with Ford's first 6-cylinder engine with 40 horsepower. It sold for $2,500 and was Ford's first failure. Only 900 were produced. One recently sold for $215,000. In 1906, Henry Ford became majority stockholder, owning 58% of the stock. He designed and built the first car that was all his. Actually, H.C. Wills contributed more to the design than did Ford. The car was the Model N. It sold for $500 and was a big success. There were about 7,000 of these cars produced from 1906 to 1908. It was a major redesign with a 4-cylinder, 15-horse engine under the hood. It is a sprightly running car. The Model N has simple flared fenders with no splash aprons and a buggy step. Some unique features of the Model N are the flywheel fan mounted in front of the engine. It has a total loss oil system with an oil pump to keep adding oil to the crankcase. There were no crankcase or cam seals, so the oil splattered all over the underside of the car. This was not a particularly good design since there were no paved roads, so the dirt and dust attached itself to the undercarriage. The top and headlights were accessories. The transmission was a 2-speed, forward, planetary type as all cars before. This car had an enclosed drive shaft to couple the power to the rear end. Many of the previous models had a chain drive. The Model N was real basic transport without many luxuries, but the car was rugged and practical and established Ford as a manufacturer of dependable, inexpensive cars for a broad market. The Model R was an upgraded version of the Model N. It had a short production run from April to October 1907. In this period, 2,500 of these cars were sold. It was slightly wider and had running boards and improved fenders. It sold for $750, which was 50% more than the Model N. The Model S was another adaptation of the Model N. The Roadster version has a third seat or mother-in-law seat behind the front bench. This model sold for $700 in its basic form. It has a cowl-like cockpit where the N and the R just had a wooden firewall in front. It was fitted with more complete fenders and splash aprons. Total production from 1907 through 1909 was 3,750 cars. After 3 years of fine-tuning the Model N, Ford was ready to build his universal car. The Model T was designed in his office on the third floor at the Paquette factory. The Model T was produced from 1909 through 1927. More records were set with that model than all others combined. We will have several years of Model Ts join us on this tour. One of the cars that was recently named the best Model T in the world. You will get to see several other years of brass radiator stem winding flivvers on the tour. Now I'll tell you about the tour and our activities. The tour headquarters motel is Country Inn by Carlson on Highway 9. We have invited a few owners of 1910 through 1916 brass Model T Fords to join us on this tour. They will be staying at the Bluffs Inn Hotel across the street from the Country Inn. We will have seminars at the host hotel every morning from 8 until 10. The seminars will be conducted by experts on restoring, maintaining, and driving these special cars. After the seminars, we will start touring. Monday is Tour Decorah Day. We have a self-guided tour of Decorah's historic points, streams, and parks. The Vesterheim Museum is on Monday's schedule. Tuesday, we travel to Cresco for a special tour of Featherlight Industries. We will make several stops on the way back to Decorah. We will end that day with a barbecue supper at the Dunlavy farm on Bluffton Road. Wednesday is our longest day. We drive to Waukon, New Albin, Effigy Mounds, McGregor, and Marquette. Tour participants are on their own in the evening for supper. Thursday, we drive to Spillville. We visit the Beely Clocks Museum, St. Wenceslaus Church, and visit historic Fort Atkinson. In the evening, we have our final tour banquet at the Nob Hill Supper Club. Friday, we visit Seed Savers. We also stop at Burr Oak and have lunch at Bluffton. I hope you will enjoy seeing these historic cars as they tour the Decorah area. There is one thought I'd like to leave you with. The most important period of automobile history was from the beginning of the Ford Motor Company in 1903 through the Paquette era. I'm Dave Dunlavy, looking forward to seeing you when we're touring. Keep 'em on the road.